Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Every day as a small business owner feels like solving a puzzle. One moment you're cruising along, and the next, there's a shipping snag that has you scrambling. But here's a surprise you will like. With Progressive, small business owners save 13% on their commercial auto insurance when they pay in full. So go ahead, surprise yourself. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to Gopher's Workshop. I'm your host, Aaron. And joining me, as always, is my fellow host, Chris. I just enjoy that every Chris that walks in here now is subjected to that, solely because now we have the staff doing that.
That's not a good thing. Okay? There's an argument to I signed up for this. Not everyone did.
Maybe every Chris in the world will eventually get this.
I have to apologize on behalf of my people.
You know what? I'm technically one of your people.
You're right. I worded that wrong. Sorry. I forgot. I was reading GW rules. I worded it terribly. Let me try again. Can we rephrase what I said into bullet points? It'll be easier for everyone to understand.
Everyone not named Aaron, I apologize. Specifically the Aaron sitting in the room with me. We understand. Anyway, welcome back, Chris.
So we're going to do a couple of things. We'll start off, and we'll touch on this again later, but by the time you're listening to this, pre-orders have gone up for Armageddon. The box is not out yet, but we got most, not all. This is a very important clarification. They said, here's the rules, digital format the other day. That's not accurate. It's like 75, 85%, somewhere in there of the rules. It is not all the rules. So these are the official rules that they put out in PDF format. So everything you read in there is like true. It's absolutely worth learning, reading several times even. I've read it several times. Like, it's worth reading. However, it's incomplete. So as much as we're reading them, I'm going to argue we still can't play an accurate game of 11th edition. We can't. I don't care how slow we go, that we have not been given all the information. There are many examples, but let me start with the one example that is extremely obvious. There's like no definition of hidden. They talk about hidden, they talk about detection range, but it's not defined anywhere in there. Mm-hmm. And now detection range, I don't necessarily expect to be defined, right? Because it's probably going to either be on data sheets or in like codexes or something of like, you know, your battle line have a detection range of 12 and everything else has 15, and then vehicles have like a 24. I don't know, whatever it is. But hidden itself should be defined. Again, there's other examples. There's still no clarification. And again, I'm looking for one. There might not be. It might go away. But I'm still looking for the clarification on like, is there maximum modifiers? Is there minimum modifiers? If there's not this next edition, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Also, if they don't define what happens when I drop something toughness to 0, it's dead. That's how it's been in the past. I've done it before. I'll do it again. But also, they haven't clarified any of that, right? So like, I am almost certain either when they update the app or when we get the book in hand, there's going to be more information, and we'll find out what's going on with the rest of it.
I would say they've even pointed out themselves that there's going to be more information to come.
Yeah. In the thing, they're like, oh, everything highlighted in green you'll find in the app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, they're admitting not all the rules are there, but I still kind of expect like there to be more rules in print.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would give me a digital copy that's different than what's in the like rule book that's coming in the Armageddon box.
Because we want to keep you guessing. Till next week.
If that is the rules that come in the Armageddon box, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be extra disappointed that I bought a physical rule book, and if I don't get the app, I can't play the game. That's going to be dumb. Anyway, what we're actually doing today, now that I've sidetracked super hard, in going over not only the 11th edition rules that we got, the official ones, but as well as kind of, let's say, reviewing all the factions. I'm not talking about reviewing like what detachments are going to be good, what this and that is going to be good, but just kind of like, okay, given the rules we have now, how does this impact so-and-so? I've created a list of things that I want to point out as far as what I kind of expect to see in 11th. And I did not categorize these by like, okay, so we're going to talk about Eldar, and here's what to expect, and here we're going to talk about Tau, and here's what to expect. It's more about like, okay, going over all the factions, here's some themes that I think, regardless of what faction you play, are likely to show up more. And this is important, not just for your own list building, but also for when like, what am I going to face into? I don't want to call this like, I'm going to define the meta. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But there are more themes or tropes, we'll say, that are going to show up more often that are going to be different than 10th. And if you just start building an 11th edition list, when we get like the detachment points and stuff like that, you start building a list assuming it's 10th, we're all going to be in a world of hurt, because that's not going to work. So we'll start with hidden rule. I was already talking about it. One of the things that I think has kind of been glossed over is how hard transports are getting hit in this next edition. And hidden is the first point that I'm going to make to that. Given the hidden rules and detection ranges and stuff like that, it's going to be much easier to protect your infantry, even in an exposed manner, right? Because like, due to hidden and detection range, I don't have to deploy behind a wall anymore. There's like there's a piece of terrain on the other side of this wall that like barely sticks out that I can tow into, which means I can deploy where you can see my whole unit. I'm on the front edge of this template in front of the walls. But on turn 1, you cannot shoot me because of detection range, unless you have like indirect fire or whatever, right? So that means that like I can deploy out there and feel fairly safe. I don't need to spend my list points on a transport that is also hard to hide. I'll just take the movement by deploying more aggressively. And this also means that on like, I can't be shot turn 1. My turn 1, I'm deployed more aggressively. I'm already outside the transport. I could just move up and charge something now because I went second, or I'm deployed more aggressively. I can move up into a better staging position because I'm farther up, instead of being stuck inside a transport, which does give you like a bonus movement of disembark rate. But now you're having to like move the vehicle around the wall and then disembark, which like kind of takes away from how fast the vehicle is. Long story short, hidden has a lot of small impacts, and transports are getting impacted by hidden, which is something that I think people aren't talking about. Now, since we're talking about transports, obviously they're getting nerfed in several other ways. Some of them being like the disembark rules are different now. So specifically when a vehicle gets destroyed during your opponent's turn, when you disembark, you have to disembark like kind of as close as you can for emergency disembark, which means you can't like intentionally disembark off to this side and get behind a wall or something like that. Again, transports are getting nerfed in a bunch of ways. Also, while we're on transports, Deadly Demise has changed its order of operations. So now you disembark and then Deadly Demise, which means transport blows up. The Unit inside rolls for taking mortal wounds because they're inside a wrecked vehicle. Then they disembark. Then you roll for deadly demise. So if you deadly demise, they'll take additional mortal wounds. Again, it's a 1 in 6 chance. It's probably D3 on your average vehicle, like especially a transport.
Yep.
I'm not saying this is like, oh my God, don't take transports. They're awful. But it's a bunch of little things that all culminate into there's a solid, like, I'm going to make up a number, 10% nerf on transports.
It feels like more of a, going into this edition, it starts to feel like more of a take transports if necessary. Also, really
because they're necessary.
Yeah, not because they're necessary. Now you really have to think, do I need these things to get up the board? Or can I just move things in phases?
Yeah. And this is kind of a thing that I encouraged in 10th edition already, but it seemed more of like a, if you were good at positioning, this was a way to gain some advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a, this is objectively the correct answer. Now, because of hidden, because of how like the minor nerfs to transports, I definitely think this feels more like the correct answer instead of here's what I do to gain a little extra advantage sort of thing.
And to be honest, I'm kind of okay with this in a way, only because like as a person who is often blowing up transports in Melee, you know how crappy it was to just watch people put their models on the table and you're like, yeah, but thematically you were inside that thing that just got wrecked and arguably exploded and you're fine. Like thematically and mechanically, to me, it feels more acceptable that you're going to have to take damage on multiple stages and because of that.
Right. And it's not just damage, right?
Yeah.
Because the argument is like, again, it's a bunch of minor nerfs, but they're all stacking together. So the thing that was true last edition and is true next edition is that when you disembark from exploded transport, you're battle shocked. Well, for the most part, in 10th, who cares, right? Like,
yeah,
I guess it prevents me from Armor of Contempting when you also, like, if you shoot my transport to death and then charge me because I deployed aggressively for no reason, like, okay, I guess it feels bad. But realistically, it wasn't that big a deal. Now in 11th, you're still battle shocked. You have to pass a battle shock test to become unbattle shocked. You're probably going to pass it over 50% of the time. Also, what if you don't? It's like over 50%. It's not 100%. There's still a very real chance of like, oh shit, because you forced me to disembark instead of I wanted to disembark.
Yep.
Now I don't get to do my cool strat that I had planned on.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Well, and again, like I said, it feels more, as someone who doesn't run long range guns, it feels more acceptable that this is happening now. I mean, again.
Okay, and let's change acceptable, right? Because one of the arguments I want to make too, we're talking about transports getting nerfed in this way, that way, and XYZ. There's an argument to all of this is fine. Transports might be more spammable now than they were before.
Yeah.
Depending on, given these nerfs, how much do they reduce their points?
Yeah.
Which we don't know yet, right? So like, so help me if a drop pod becomes 25 points. I mean, they won't. But a 25-point drop pod, I don't give a shit how bad it is. We're taking drop pods, right? So, like, again, we don't really know how good or bad they are yet, but we do know there is a direct change that are like, okay, I know it's getting nerfed in these ways. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying when the points updates come out, I'm looking for them to go down. If yes, I'm okay with it. If no, well, now I definitely feel like they got nerfed and their points didn't go down.
Yeah.
Do I really need a Rhino? I'm not sure I do.
Well, and that's my whole takeaway. Besides from all of that, it's just, it felt like more should happen because you were in a vehicle that arguably was blown up.
Yep. And that's where we can talk about this whole edition. I'm not trying to parrot GW, but they know certain talking points. And because they're making them a talking point, they're at least good about sticking to those. So you're saying acceptable. I'm going to rephrase that and say this whole thing with transport seems more thematic.
Thematic.
And that is what they're trying to do, right? They're not saying it's better or worse. They're just saying it's more thematic.
Yeah.
And the competitively better or worse, as I've said many times, is almost entirely up to only two factors. How good is the player to leverage the model? And what are the points? So transports getting worse is only a problem if I can't deal with the changes.
Yeah.
And it's only a problem if the points don't reflect them getting worse. One of them is in GW's hands. I can't do anything about it, and they get to determine whether or not I play it to some degree. After they reduce it in points, now it's up to me and my job to be like, okay, yes, it got worse, but it got reduced in points. That means I get to take this extra upgrade on the unit inside, and I don't need it. I don't need a stratagem now. And like, there's ways to make it fine.
Yep.
On a somewhat related note, because I think it has a lot to do with transports, but we're going to get somewhat away from transports. Obviously, fly got better. Kind of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but in the rules they gave us, in addition to the way fly works, they also gave us hover. We don't know who's getting hover yet. We can make some good guesses, but we don't know for sure. But hover, especially combined with fly, means that tanks with the fly keyword, especially the ones with hover, are going to be way more spammable. I'm not saying more playable. Plenty of them were playable before. But the difference between, like, you know what, I'm going to take, I don't know, Eldar take one Night Spinner, or Tau take one Hammerhead, or, I mean, so help me if they give hover to some of the Primaris tanks, right? Maybe they don't give it fly, but they give it hover. Like, actually, that's a lie. I think hover refers to take to the skies. So I don't think hover by itself would do anything.
You can't. Yeah, you can't do one by itself, because you have to be able to take to the skies, and
right. But if they give the fly keyword back to the Primaris tanks because they are hover, again, flying tanks are going to be way more spammable, and that's
a whole new ball game of what to deal with,
especially for the transports. So Drukhari, having the fly keyword, being pretty fast, being a transport. We talked, I just literally earlier, I mentioned that like transports were always slower than they appeared because you had to like go around walls. Well, if you have fly keyword or hover, losing 2 inches, you were losing way more than 2 inches before going around walls. Even if you like measured the up and over, you were still losing more than 2 inches. Now, lose 2 inches, deploy, move the vehicle exactly where you want, disembark exactly where you were like hoping to get. Way more spammable.
Yep.
All right, moving down the list. Low AP attacks are going to be way more useful. This has a lot to do with the cover change. Now that it's not reducing AP, yes, that means that high AP is arguably equally better to some degree. Specifically because there's so many invols being played, the low AP stuff becomes way more valuable. You play 2-up, 4-up armor, right?
Yep.
Sanguinary Guard, but also is true for Terminators and all kinds of things. Even the like 3-up, 5-up, because the way cover used to work, it just felt like AP1 didn't matter. AP1 was actually 0. AP2 felt good because it was actually AP1, right? Like now, cover benefits have changed. Spamming AP1, way better. And I'm going to say this is specifically to shooting. Because like I know you play a bunch of melee AP1, but cover didn't apply there. So arguably there's not much change. There is some because of the you can't stack stratagem.
Yeah.
So like Armor of Contempt and this like stacking together. Okay, that is different, fair. But the biggest change for low AP, I think, is going to be the mass volumes of AP1 feels like it's actually AP1 instead of AP0.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a specific shout out here. There's a specific unit, and this applies to multiple units, but I'm going to give one of the examples that has this, that I kind of thought was borderline unplayable. I'm not saying it wasn't playable. People have proven that it is playable, but it was like its damage output was basically non-existent. The various versions of autocannon that were like decent strength, but then like AP1, but 3 damage. It's like, okay, that feels decent and it could be played. But at the AP1 with the old cover rules, it was always AP0, just all the time. So the specific example I want to give is Helvrins. Strength 9, AP1, flat 3 damage. It turns out I was hoping and praying to kill a Blade Guard before. I'm going to shoot this whole 100 and something point Helvrin, and if I kill 1 Blade Guard, 2 if I'm lucky, I'm going to be pretty happy. That's like it, right? Now, because AP1 feels relevant, I don't care if we're talking about Terminators. I don't care if we're talking about Blade Guard. I don't care if we're talking about Gravis armor. Flat 3 damage feels powerful. It always has. Flat 3 damage with AP1 that is actually AP1.
Yep.
Now the Helvrin isn't, well, I'm taking it because it's cheap and also it like suppresses or whatever. No. Now I'm taking it because nope, that's going to actually kill something. I'm expecting to kill at least 2, if not more, aggressors when I shoot my Helvrin.
Yeah.
That's good. So low AP, especially AP with flat 3 damage, I think is way more playable. That's going to show up way more often and feel a lot better, specifically for damage output. AP0 cheap infantry, arguably they're the same, right? I'm going to argue they're also kind of secretly better for certain factions. So like I said, I was rotating through factions. Things like Guard. They have some of the cheapest volume of fire in the game. And they specifically have access to giving it an AP buff.
Yep.
So now that you have such a cheap volume of dice, and you can force them all to be AP1, you have to take a tank support, right? But you're probably going to do that anyway. Now that cover works differently, all of a sudden guardsmen are going to be wounding terribly, but also with the AP1, they might actually start mowing through hordes. Not just on a hordes with bad armor, but if I do a little bit of tank support and I have this one tank shoot only its top turret over at these Blade Guard, and then everything else shoots somewhere else, I probably have enough guardsmen at AP1 to just murder the rest of the Blade Guard.
Yep.
Because they're so cheap and they get so many dice. You give them the order for first rank, second rank, right? So they get more dice even. That's pretty solid.
That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying. So it's again,
I'm not mad about it, but
yeah, AP0 did not technically get better. The AP0 that has in their faction AP buff mechanics, I think got better. Invols, specifically the bad invols, got significantly better, in my opinion. Things that have a 5-up or a 6-up invol, specifically the 5-up more likely, but a lot of the demon engine stuff in CSM. Well, I don't say demon engines, demons in general, because there's a lot of CSM demons like the what's it, possessed? No, not possessed. Yeah, they're 3-up, 5-up.
Yeah,
a lot of their vehicles like the Forge Fiend, Mauler Fiend are 3-up, 5-up.
Yep.
Those I definitely feel got better due to the cover changes. The AP again is the thing that's getting a buff here. So being a 3-up armor means that in the new edition, 3-up armor is less valuable. But the fact that you had that 5-up invol, in the past, it felt like you never really used it, right? Because I got 3-up armor, you got to have AP3. I mean, I'm in cover, I'm on a 5-up, 5-up, so it's kind of the same either way. It just felt like you weren't really using the invol very often.
Yeah.
Now that AP is better, I'm not saying those units are better. I'm saying you're going to end up in more situations where you're yeah, I'm using a 5-up because it's my invol. It should be worse. Screening is obviously worse. The coherency changes. I still kind of expect some clarification on this. A lot of people are talking about the
yeah,
I can split 2 guys up into pairs of 2 and they can be 8 inches apart from each other and they still count as in the same unit. I think that, first off, I think that is absolutely abusable in the
You think?
It's not. It's not abusable in like the screening aspect, right? For that screening alone, I actually don't mind it because it's getting nerfed for the bigger units. So having smaller units be able to do the thing when the bigger units can't, that just encourages more MSU, and I don't have a problem with that. The reason I think it's a problem is because middle to late of the game, it is too often that you have a bunch of partial units. And especially when you have factions that like auras, Necrons, CSM, like the kind of like, I want everyone to be huddled around this guy because he's giving me buffs. You're going to have too many units that are like 4 or 5 models, but they're all split up into like different pairs that look separate. And now they're intermingled. And I can't tell what intercessors with what unit anymore, but they're all hovered around Gilliman. So whatever, I guess. Like, I think that's where it's going to be confusing and let's say unintentionally abusable, but is anytime it's unintentionally abusable, it becomes intentionally abused.
Yeah.
Again, I look for clarification on that. Regardless of that answer, the maximum 9-inch bubble of coherency means that like Super Grots, you had 3 models. You could string them out and basically that one unit could stop 2/3 of a deployment zone from leaving.
All day, every day.
That doesn't work anymore. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work as a unit. I still like Super Grots. I still like the fact that they're so densely packed. You can just pick the center objective that's probably between 2 buildings, and you can not only cover the whole objective marker, which is way bigger now, but also you can just, you are not allowed to go between these 2 buildings. I hope you have an ability, whether it's fly or infantry or something like that lets you go through walls, because your vehicle does not get to pass this anymore. 9 inches, especially with the 9-inch +2 coherency, or not coherency, +2 engagement, it's still a pretty big bubble, right? So I don't have a problem with the 9-inch in general, but it is objectively worse in that it's encouraging, as I said, more MSU. You want a screen? Don't take a 20 brick of fruit. Take 2 10-man. You're going to plug up 2 different holes. Yes, a stratagem is less effective on them for giving them stealth or go to ground or whatever else because it's only 10 instead of 20. And you need 2 separate units to cover the same distance. But overall, it's going to end up being what? The same points? It's going to be, it's fine. I'm really not bothered by it. But it did objectively get nerfed.
I've heard a lot of complaints about that one in particular, about the 9-inch.
Okay, you're right. And let me point out the reality. When we're talking about it in theory, which is how most of these conversations start.
You're right.
But I could take a 20 brick with a character or 2. And how do I fit all that? First off, you get to overhang, right? So like only a toe of the model has to be within the 9 inches of a toe of the other end of the unit. Like, it's fine. You actually have more than 9. I think off the top of my head, there's only one unit that is ever going to struggle with a 9-inch coherency. And it's actually a really easy fix, but you might accidentally mess it up.
Who's that?
Gazgul with a 20 brick of boys.
Yes.
Now, and here's the thing. They planned for this, okay? They know Gazgul plus Makari plus an additional character, let's say a boss knob with Warband or something like that, plus 20 boys. You can absolutely fit that in the 9 inches, no problem. Because you can overhang, right? Gazgul is not this giant base. He's a tiny sliver of plastic at the edge of this 9-inch bubble. Now, the reason this is probably the only unit that has trouble is because if you accidentally or intentionally put Gazgul in the center of the 9-inch bubble, he's now pushing out so many other boy models that maybe you actually have trouble getting them all in. I still think you can, but you're right. It gets super tight and we are packing them in, trying to double check because I don't know if I made it. Like, I think that's the only thing that has trouble. Everything else should be fine. Here's the actual drawback to the 9-inch bubble. Towing into auras gets way harder. So I'm going to use Necrons because that's what I play. But this also applies to a bunch of stuff. If you've got 20 brick units, multiple 10 brick units that have this 9-inch bubble, and then also you're trying to keep some of those models within range of like Illuminar to get the buff, or, you know, Abaddon, or there's a whole bunch with auras, right?
Yeah.
But like you're trying to toe in, it gets harder to toe in because the bubble has to be relatively packed. I'm going to start by saying 20 brick units plus characters are going to see less play. I'm not saying that they're unplayable. They're very playable. You should still play them. You're going to play less of them for sure. Especially when those bricks require auras. So specifically Necrons. Again, Warriors, they're trying to stick into like 3 different auras at once. They're trying to stick inside Illuminar and the Reanimator, and then who knows what else. Like, no, those units are way less playable. I don't know this. My hope is this all gets relatively mitigated by one of two things. We can all bitch to high heaven and get on Reddit as we do. And GW can change it for like 20 brick units. It's actually a coherency of 12 instead of 9 or something. I don't know. Whatever. Or what I suspect to be more likely is as they update codexes for 11th, we're going to see more granularity. So instead of saying your unit size is 10 or 20, pick one. They're going to be like, well, how about 10 or 15 or 20? And now a 15 unit feels better than a 10 because I have more bodyguards. Like my character feels better protected. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. But at 15 models, I don't feel like I'm so packed in that I have no wiggle room.
Yeah.
That's my hope. Again, I'm totally spitballing here. I haven't gotten any information on that.
Yeah, we don't know anything concrete.
Correct. But there's so many people talking about the granularity coming back of like war gear options having point values and stuff like that. I can't imagine that they don't add some extra granularity to the unit size. All right, going down the list, larger objectives.
I'm so excited about this.
This has a lot of benefits, and we already saw it in some of the videos, right? Of like, technically I was towing on the objective, but then my opponent rapid ingressed and they were able to tow onto the objective too. And it's not mine anymore. Like, we already know that it's going to be easier to get on. However, larger objectives also mean that infantry OC becomes more valuable. In the past, I say we generically, it was very notorious for like, no, but I have a knight. His OC is really high. That's not why he held the objective. It's because he's a giant model that took up almost the entire objective marker. So you could only tow on like 2 infantry to begin with.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a really high OC. That's not why he was holding it. With these larger objectives, I totally get that knights have a really high OC. I'm glad your OC is like 10 or 12 or something crazy. Also, it turns out when all my infantry are OC 2 or 3, my 10-man squad ties it. My 10-man squad plus a character takes it, right? Like, this becomes so much easier to deal with those big vehicle models screening you out just by their sheer size, that specifically shitty infantry, battle line infantry that have multiple OC, way more valuable. Not because they do any damage, not because they're going to survive, but just because you can advance onto the objective, take it away from them, prevent them from scoring, and then being like, again, guard, for example. You realize I just spent 40 points in my list to prevent you from getting to the other side of this objective, prevents you from scoring 5 primary, and then also, assuming I didn't advance, I also did an action and then like got sabotage or something.
Yep.
I'll spend 40 points on that every turn. Absolutely.
I'll take it.
I kind of feel obligated to talk about Chaos Demons. I know we did a little bit about their not going away. I gotta be honest. They are probably the biggest beneficiaries of the new cover.
I thought that same friggin' thing.
Across the board, There are some demons with armor saves, but almost all of them are living off their invul and only their invul. So now that cover is changing from a AP modifier to a ballistic seal modifier, cover is harder to get objectively. I'm not saying they're going to get it all the time, but the fact that cover does something, it objectively makes their infantry tougher. Whereas before, it basically didn't do anything. They're probably the biggest beneficiary. The biggest beneficiary for Battle Shock, because I had to have this conversation, is Chaos Knights.
Big time.
A lot of people are saying like, oh, but Tyranids. I hear you. And there is Tyranid lists that are going to benefit from this hugely. I try to encourage people so much to use Battle Shock more with Tyranids in 10th edition. And they kind of struggled with it, but it's definitely a benefit to Tyranids. No questions asked. I think it's a stronger benefit to Knights because it's the Knights army rule. Everything they do, not everything, most of what they do is built around the Battle Shock mechanic.
Yeah.
Especially since we just talked about how being a big model does not actually guarantee that you hold that objective anymore.
Yep.
This is going to benefit them a lot. Tyranids could benefit from it more than CSM or Chaos Knights. But that's if you build around the Battle Shock mechanic. They don't just do it because they do it. They do it because you built in, like, you have to take some Neurolictors. You have to take the Neuro Tyrant. You want to do that Battle Shock stuff. Now, you're right, they're benefiting a ton. If I just take any old 10th edition NIDS list, it's gaining a benefit. Nowhere near as much as a benefit as the 10th edition Chaos Knight lists.
Yep.
Continuing down the list, we've got... Well, okay, you know what? Actually, before I go further, I'm actually going to say that Tyranids are probably the most improved faction overall. I understand that they're benefiting from Battle Shock. I think they're benefiting because of how much easier they can use it cover, because they've got like Venom Thropes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Almost every part of this edition, I think, actually benefits Tyranids. Like a lot. I'm not saying they're the most benefited on any one individual rule, but overall, they feel like they're slightly benefiting from like everything.
Well, and that's kind of what I felt like when you were talking about the Battle Shocks. I kind of felt like they benefited more from the Battle Shocks because they benefit from everything else so well. But the reality is, if you take each section, as we talked about it outside of the podcast, you take each section as is, and you find out the Chaos Knights benefit from the Battle Shock. But you're right, Tyranids are wholeheartedly benefiting from this edition.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Again, it's not just Battle Shock. It's not just cover. It's also like the larger objectives. Being able to buy cheap infantry with mountains of OC. Being able to like get the 3-inch move and still get heavy. There's almost everything. They benefit from it in some way. Now, does a 3-inch move change the game? No. But is it objectively a benefit? Yes. And this is without us even knowing all their changes, right? Like how many of their monsters are going to gain cleave? Not a small number, but also, I don't know.
Also, in that same note, I think infantry benefit from the actual objectives as well, because being able to consolidate anywhere on the objective piece now, it's not closer to the center, it's anywhere you want as long as you're on it,
which does a lot for you. It's not just
really does.
Yes, the obvious answer is it allows you. The example they gave was it allows you to use the rune pieces that are on there more beneficially, because you don't have to go towards the center, so you can actually go backwards a little bit behind the wall, still towing on. Okay, that is good defensively, but also it absolutely helps you aggressively too. Being able to okay, I killed this thing, I'm already on the objective. Now I get to go 3 inches this way towards the far side of the table because that's where I need to go next. That's half a movement phase for your average infantry, right?
Yep. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, you're going to let me move anywhere? That's a bad idea.
All right. So then I kind of, as I was working through the factions, I made this little list of like who benefits the most from some of these things. There is a faction that I think benefits a lot from the new edition. 2 factions specifically. They benefit a lot. I'm going to argue they're objectively better. However, both of those factions, I think, are going to require the biggest reworks as far as lists. Yes, they are better, but they have been forcibly altered as to their play style to some degree that they have to rework their lists more than everyone else. They can't just copy paste 10th edition. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Necrons and
Okay.
Tau. There
Okay.
are so many significant changes that arguably buffs, right? To like the way fly keyword works, Tau gets to just zoom anywhere they want to go now. It's crazy. Necrons, the change to the being like, again, the 20 brick units with multiple characters trying to stick in multiple auras, they got nerfed, right? They are struggling to stay in those auras. Necrons also got a buff from fly because I assume they're going to have some hover keyword, right? So now like the Doomsday Art gets to deploy better defensively and then still get to use its new rules to hop past the wall and shoot turn 1 or turn 2 aggressively. That is a benefit. I'm not saying that they're like worse or better. I'm just saying that the playstyle changes are significant, that their lists have to change because of how the rules interact. Better or worse, they have to change their list a lot more than others.
Yeah, I would agree to that, honestly. We've had talks outside of the podcast on that very topic. So
speaking of list changes, I've heard some people talking about it, so I'm not going to call it like my crazy take, but the thing that I am relatively excited about and also concerned about, because it's so wildly different than what most players have had to deal with before, this new edition is going to allow you to run solo characters way more often. I don't exactly know the wording on hidden, so maybe I'm reaching a little too far here. But why do I need to like put this crazy character in Orcs, a war boss? Your average boy unit in 10th is there to deliver the war boss. He does 70% of the damage, and the boys are a nice to have. Why am I putting this war boss in a unit to protect him when he has hidden? By the time they're inside hidden, I can just charge them.
Yep. I was also thinking that same thing, like with Dante specifically.
Yeah. Right now, we're talking about like, is it worth putting him with Vanguard? Is it worth putting him with Sanguinary Guard? Like, he has to be protected.
There's a real option to, is it worth putting him with nobody?
Yep. And I'm not saying that's the right answer, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
We don't know points changes. We don't know what's going on exactly with hidden. I'm not saying I have the answer. You should do this, but there is so many options. Yes, Marines, but also with Necrons even. Like, I don't care what list I'm playing. I could just spam 3 Plasmancers, use hidden, give people the finger, deal some mortal wounds, run back. Like, that's an option. I'm not saying you should do that. That's probably not worth the points. But there are others that are. Right now, I haven't seen a single person run a Geomancer. I might run Geomancers next edition. But no, it turns out he's playing this little game of like, I'm probably going to die if they get too close. But him, even if he's sacrificial, now that I do not have to pay for a bodyguard because I have hidden, I can run out turn 1. I can say that unit gets -2 to their move and -2 to their charge. And then use hidden to where like you're going to be able to shoot at the Geomancer. But I have hidden because I'm in this terrain piece and I'm hugging the wall. So while you can shoot at me, there's so little that can shoot at me. Can you kill me, actually? I don't know.
I don't know.
And now the Geomancer actually gets to do his job. And he's doing it for half the cost he used to because you don't have to pay for bodyguards. Again, I could keep going on this topic for a while, but there are so many characters. Death Guard. If you're going to benefit from your own rule, you don't have to be leading necessarily to get all of your rules.
Yeah.
I could deep strike with just the Lord of Contagion. Still have my, what's it, Lance and Sustained or something like that?
I think it is, yeah.
He's enough. I'm not saying he's going to like crack a Land Raider by himself, right? But if you're going to deep strike into someone's deployment zone to kill off the 5 or 10 man squad holding their home objective, you're going to deep strike in the back and try to charge their indirect fire tank. You know what? He might actually be able to just kill a Biovore. And the fact that I can do it because I'm a single 40 millimeter or 50 millimeter model now, instead of a unit of 4+, the fact that I can just do that for a third of the cost as what it would be if I wanted to charge in, you know, somebody's home objective before. Hell, for less than I would pay before, I could buy 2 Lord of Contagions, effectively meaning I would have 2 attempted charges on your home objective on turn 2. So I'm paying less points. I'm effectively getting twice the charges, which means I don't have to spend CP. And so help me if I make either one of them, he's enough because he's benefiting from his own rule to wipe out that lone op lieutenant. No questions asked.
Now, have we gotten an answer? Because I haven't read the rules super in depth myself. Have we gotten an answer on whether or not the characters are still going to aura affect themselves?
Yes. It specifically calls out, like, they kind of worded it in a way that made it clear that, like, they are within their own aura.
Okay.
They didn't say they're affected by their own aura. And the reason they said this is because they are affected by their own aura. But for example, I'm trying to remember his name. Vashtor.
Okay, yeah.
He's like got an aura that affects vehicles, right?
Yeah.
There's other examples here, but like off the top of my head, I feel like Vashtor is a monster, not a vehicle. He's within his own aura, but he's not affected by it because
he's not a vehicle.
He's not a vehicle.
Keyword.
But anytime like the Necrosar destroyer cult model, he is a destroyer cult model. He is within his own aura, and thus he is affected. So yes, they have clarified that is in there.
Okay, good. Because I know that actually was a big thing of topic for 10th for a while, was like, do they affect themselves?
And that was clarified, and like we kind of all agreed that it did work. But yeah, it's in the base rules. They made it very clear they're within their own aura. There was like a sentence where they specifically called that out. Yeah.
Again, it just made sense.
Yep.
So
yeah, the long story short, there's a term that all heads might understand, but back in the day, characters were so important that we referred to it as Hero Hammer because damn near every unit was there to deliver the character. I'm not saying that it's going to be the same as it was in the past. It's not. But we are very close to having like the new aged Hero Hammer. Because not only are characters still very valuable, but the ability to just like take a character that's meant to be in a unit, take him by himself, and that still feels valuable. There's going to be a lot more characters taken in this edition than there has been in 10.
Yeah.
That's not for every faction, but for a lot.
Oh, I believe it. Right. Well, do you have anything else to drop on us with your knowledge bombs?
So for this week, we're going to say no. We'll kind of do our like wrap up here in just a second. As far as next week is concerned, we're going to record ahead of time. Unfortunately, I'm out next week. But next week, I'll still be researching all the rules that come out. I'm still going to like read over the rules and get my notes together. But we're going to pre-record another episode for next week. I am going to go over the rules that came out so far. I'm not going to read them to you. It's not a bedtime story. I'm also not going to go over every rule. There's plenty of other YouTubers and whatever else out there doing that. I'm going to make a short list of, let's say, oddities. Things that I think people are going to mess up, things that people are going to gloss over initially, things that have a much bigger impact than I think people are going to initially realize. We're going to go over those rules. So we're going to hit kind of like the hot, interesting, weird topics of the various rules that kind of hit me as I'm reading through. So that's going to be next week's episode. And then the week after that will be the week of release for
11th edition, right?
No, that'll be just after the release of Armageddon.
Oh, yep.
So then we'll start getting into, we've played some games. We'll talk about kind of our feelings about certain things. One of the things that I guess is for next week, but the whole fast rolling thing I think is hilarious. I have no problem with fast rolling. Fast rolling is fine. I will explain it a little better later in a YouTube short or whatever, because we'll start doing those again. But for the first 2 months, 3 months, fast rolling is going to be way slower than 10th edition. It just is. Like, it's not even that the mechanics are bad. It's that people aren't used to it. And that's all it takes to make it slower. You have 10 saves at AP1. Cool. Roll my saves. You forgot to order them. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me order these. Okay. I need you to re-roll those now. Because did you order them that way because the rolls you saw? Or did you order them that way because that's what you would have done anyway? So now you've rolled the dice. Now you have to order them because you fucked up. Then you have to re-roll the dice. And then we have to apply them. That's just a habit thing, right? Someone tells you to make 10 saves.
Nobody
roll
was
10
trying
dice,
to
you
cheat
go.
here.
Right. So that's just, again, for the first couple of months, as we're all learning the new edition, fast rolling is going to be slower because we have too many habits built up, right? This is not a thing we've done before of like, okay, I got to make my saves, but I'm not allowed to until I talk about my unit. Fast rolling will be good, and I'm happy to have it. It has value. All those statements are true 6 months from now. They're not true today.
Well, with that being said, we have to thank our patrons.
Yep.
Before we end this episode, we got to thank our patrons. We had no mid break this time.
Yep. And that is also my fault. We are extra busy with me disappearing next week. So I kind of rushed through this episode a bit.
So first up on our thank you list is our guardsmen patrons. Starting with Sergeant Matt's Mini Minute. Nah, I got it. Next up is Captain Beefalo. Then we have Andy. Still got to write on your shoe. Still got to write on your
I need to, no.
Then we have our White Shield Guardsmen patrons, Mitch, Nico, Dimas, Tabers. It's like a walrus.
No, that's just you.
You're right. And Stephen Grace. And then our Servo Skull patrons, Des and Renee. So thank you to our patrons, because without you, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't have a show. We'd just talk to a wall with padding.
And speaking of you guys, as I said, with 11th edition, we're going to start doing some YouTube shorts. Obviously, I'm going to hit, a specific rule and explain visually fast rolling and explain visually how cover works. But as we get the actual rule books in hand, not right now, after you get the rule book in hand, if there are things that you find confusing, I don't fully understand how this table works with precision and when do they keep their rules or whatever else. Use your comment section. Use send us an email. Let us know what it is you're looking for so I can prioritize. Hey, we should do a short on this to help out. I think, was it Steven? Or no, Renee. Renee
did, yeah.
Asked us questions before, and I prioritized those shorts over some of the others we were going to do. So again, we are here to help you. One of the ways we can help you is by you telling us what it is you need so that I can take care of that problem.
help me help you.
Yeah. Speaking of helping you, well, never mind, I can't. Helping them. By the time you're hearing this, we'll have the Armageddon boxes up for pre-order. I got a small mountain, not as many as I hoped for, but I still got a lot. So check out my site. The MSRP on those is $295, which means our price
$250.75. $250.75.
Yep. Which even if you are here local, that means after tax, you're still yep, $273. So even after tax, I'm still saving you a good number of dollars. Especially for those that are looking to, buy a box and split it. You could save mountains of money here. If you're waiting for individual things, I don't know this yet, but it is likely to be the week after Armageddon that we get the standalone rule books and data cards. Regardless of that, I'm telling you right now, if you're waiting for the individual models, these new edition boxes are a better deal than literally anything else GW does. If you decide that you want the orcs and you can't find someone to pick up the Marines or vice versa, it's still probably worth picking one up because you're saving so many dollars by the time you spend a little extra time selling off those models that you didn't want. You're still saving buckets of dollars than waiting for, the heavy intercessors with the eradicators with heavy bolters. You wait till they come out standalone. You could be saving a bucket of dollars by just picking everything up in the Armageddon box. Even the books themselves, I don't know the exact price of all these things because they haven't come out standalone, right? But I'm telling you right now, at a minimum, those books and cards are free. And then I still think you're saving money on models. If you're going to buy those books for full, MSRP off GW's website or whatever else, you should just get an Armageddon box. It's already a good deal. Then I've got it discounted further. Armageddon boxes are kind of the way to go. I normally don't push product, but again, this is like a once edition thing. Once every 3-4 years, there's a deal this good. This is like the only time where I'm going to convince you this is probably a good deal. Even if we have one guy just wants the books and data cards. He's going to pick up the Armageddon box anyway and then sell the models to his friends that actually play those factions. And it still makes more sense for him to pick up Armageddon than to wait a week and purchase the books and stuff separately. Obviously, you can't afford, if you can't afford that and you want to get the book separately, I'll have those on my website the next week too. No problem. I'm happy to take care of you. But if you can afford it, if you get your friends together to kind of split a box, Armageddon's the way to go.
Right. Well, on that note, I guess thank you all for listening. Tune in next week. Hey, everybody. It's Aaron. I want to thank you again for tuning in for this episode of Gopher's Workshop with us, hanging out and listening. Remember, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. And if you feel like supporting us, you can always go to Patreon in the show notes below. Thanks. Till next time.
Ever notice how life's best stories don't happen in your living room? They happen on the open road, out on the water, or parked under the stars. At Progressive, they get that you want to focus on the experience, not worry about the what-ifs. That's why they offer quality insurance designed for your ride, whether that's a boat, RV, or motorcycle. Adventure with confidence. Visit Progressive.com and see how easy it is to protect your favorite way to get away. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in D.C. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings by $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.